Hello everyone. Well, today you're gonna learn Java in this tutorial, and I already had the whole thing laid out, but sadly my recording wasn't saved somehow, or it was deleted somehow, so I actually have to restart that video over, and it was about 30 minutes. So anyways, with that, let's begin. First of all, I want you to know the difference that Java and JavaScript are not the same. JavaScript is something for the browser, and Java is for computer programs like this. Okay. So first of all, you're going to need the Eclipse Ide. So let's see. Can I start? Okay. Yeah, I want to give this website a mention, homeandlearn.co.uk. I've gotten some help from them. And also a guy at thebestmactutorials.com. So you're going to want to go to eclipse.com. Not eclipse.com. Eclipse.org. Because that's the IDE we're using. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. And once you go there, you're going to want to click on Downloads. In Eclipse Standard, I want everyone to download 32-bit because I've heard that 64-bit can make it more complicated than it really is. I don't know. You can venture out for this, but if you encounter any problems and you're on 30 and it's a 64-bit problem, then, you know, don't tell me I didn't tell you not to download it. Then we're going to want to download a Java Runtime environment. So go to java.com. Go to the search, JRE. Better yet, search JDK. Click the suggested link. Then scroll down and download the JRE. So I hope you know how to install that. It's different for different operating systems, but if Eclipse prompts you, that's pretty good. So let me close this out. And once you've downloaded Eclipse, you're going to have to go through the setup, wait for it to load and everything. It shouldn't take too long. So let me create my new class. My new project. You go to File, New, Java Project, or if you want to do it the quick way, go to File, not File, just click that button there and hit Java Project. So I'm going to do a Java project. Project name, Java Tutorial. Oh yeah, I can add spaces. Java Tutorial 1. Okay. And everything else is fine. Oh, by the way, when Eclipse is setting up and it asks you where do you want to save all of your Eclipse files, you can just use Workspace. Workspace worked fine for me. So Java Tutorial 1, finish. Then under Java Tutorial 1 in the Package Explorer, make sure it's there. If it's not, you may want to click Help and find where it is. But other than that, it should be there. It may be minimized, so hit Maximize. Hit the arrow next to it, SRC. You can create a new class by going into File, New Class. Or you can just hit the Java class button there. I hope I'm not moving too fast. I think my body is just a mental thing. I feel like I've already done this before and I know what I'm going to do next. So now it may seem like I'm going a bit too fast. But no need to fear. this one cannot have any spaces. So I named this Java tutorial 1. And where it says public static void main, that thing, check that and press finish. So now we have our new class. And here you have public class Java tutorial 1. That's telling you the class we just created. That's where you're going to do your coding. You have public static void main, and that's a method. Methods can get pretty complicated, and for that reason I will not be going over them in this video. You have the thing that says // to do auto-generated method stub, and that's the first thing I'm gonna go over. You actually can take that out, and you don't need to pay any attention to that, because these are called comments. And comments are things in code where you can, list something. Like if I'm gonna put something in code, I can add a comment to it. Like if it's a program for saying something, I can add a comment saying something. Or if I need or want my comment to go on multiple lines, I put /*. And then since this is Eclipse, it'll automatically create the other lines for me. Isn't Eclipse just wonderful? So yes, Eclipse will do that for you. And those are comments. And comments will not show up in the code. So you can put anything you want in comments. Unless you are showing your code to a developer or someone who needs to check your code, you may not want to put a comment. That's so silly. So the first thing I want you to do is at the top of your code, put in import java.util.scanner, semicolon. And that's going to help in the long run. Well, not really long run, but it's going to help in this video later on. I'll tell you what it's for later on also. Semicolons are basically the periods of Java. Basically everything you do needs a semicolon. There's like 2 exceptions I can think of. 2 or 3 exceptions I can think of off of the top of my head. But other than that, you're going to need one. So, this is your console. Think of this as the computer program. Your console here. Make sure your bottom thing is selected on console. I can double click to maximize or hit that button here. So this is your console. This is what you're coding for. I don't know why mine says Android at the top. But Android's good. So yeah. So this is your console. This is where everything that you code will be. And comments will not be in the code. And there's nothing to see here actually. So if I hit run, it does nothing. It doesn't say Android anymore. But yeah, if I hit run, it does nothing. So I'm going to make the computer say something. To do that, in your code, you need to put in system.out.println, parentheses, quotation marks, and you can say anything. I'm going to make mine say, hello, stealth droid. Try not to use any, awkward symbols or parentheses inside the quotation marks or anything like that. We're just going to keep it simple. I put hello, stealth droid. You can put hello, your name. You can put anything. And notice how I put a semicolon at the end. So now if I run it, ta-da, hello, stealth droid. And I can just go ahead and do this again. You can get some practice with it. And you need to learn this because this is something that will not go away. It lasts forever. semicolon. So I can run all of that. So do not forget this, system.out.println. If you forget anything about Java, do not forget this. Anyways, I think we've kind of got that concept covered. Now I want to go over integers. And that's where this import.java util scanner. If I'm not going to use integers or any doubles or floats, doubles are bigger than integers and floats are bigger than doubles, I believe. The only difference between integers, doubles, and floats is that they can store bigger things. But for now, you don't have to understand it now. You will later. For now, we'll just go with integer. Trust me, you will understand it. And that's why that's there, because I don't need that to run my system.out.println. Yeah. So I'm going to put that back. And, let's see. I need to create a scanner object. Whenever you use your scanner, you need to also create a scanner object. So scanner in equals new scanner, parentheses, system.in, semicolon. And don't worry if you get a yellow light bulb. I believe that just indicates you're not working. I mean, you're not using it. But don't worry about those. So you have that as your scanner object. Now let's create some integers. Woo. Okay. So to start, you put int, which is short for integer. You put a letter, only a letter, not two, not anything else. Just a letter. I'll start with A. And then that integer needs to equal something. And of course that integer needs to be a number. Semicolon. Oh, by the way, if you ever see a red X, that means something is wrong. And I forgot to mention this. When you hit run, if you get a pop-up saying something, then you have to click run. There should be a checkbox that says always save before running, something like that. Just hit that checkbox so you won't have to go through that extra step. I mean, I've never found a problem, so I just run it and it runs it. I just find that more convenient. So anyways, my integer equals 12. So now, if I want to put 12 into my program here, all I need to do is put in, I was about to put in something else, system.out.println, parentheses, quotation marks, and that variable, A. No quotation marks. No quotation marks. That's only for things called strings, also known as string literals, if you just want to, like, put a sentence or whatever. Other than that, for variables and everything else, no quotation marks. So now when I start, 12. Okay, Christopher, so what's so special about, replacing a number with a letter? Well, I'm glad you probably didn't ask. But anyways, if I had a bigger number, like that, let me see something really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I just wanted to make sure the integer wasn't too small to store that number. Because integers, like I said, aren't really good at storing really big numbers. So if I had a big number like that, I wouldn't want to create a system.out.println, then have to type in that number and do the system out, then type in that number and do it again, and type in that number and do it again, and type in no. Dramatization was added. You're not going to get any code like that. But yeah, I don't have to type in 1, 2, 6, 7, 2, 3, parentheses, colon. Because it's much quicker to just do this system out print ln input A. No quotation marks and a semicolon. So now I'll show you what this does by running it. So hello stealth droid, it lasts forever, and see if I change that integer, it'll change every time I run it, because it's gonna check for what that integer equals every time I run this code. So they all say the same thing, but they're kind of saying it in different ways. And I can also add another one if I want it. B, and B is going to equal that number. Yeah, 534, semicolon. So now I can add a system dot out dot print ln B. And now, semicolon. Now when I hit run, B is going to also come out. So, that's pretty cool. So I'm pretty sure we understand the concept of that. I'm going to clear some of this up because it's redundant and I'd like to save as much space in the console as I want to. So, we've got integers down. We've gotten strings, also known as string literals, down. Now I'm going to show you a cool thing called concatenation. So what I want you to do, oh, by the way, concatenation is spelled, I'll put it down later. But I want you to create another integer, C. Okay. I was just making sure of some things. Seems like everything's working how it should be. I don't want to have to restart this video. And it looks like I won't have to, thank God Almighty. Anyways, let me close this program on my phone. It's annoying me. Okay, now I can start. So I have integer C, and I'm gonna put in a temperature. 41. Semicolon. So now, this is how concatenation works. System.out.println. And I can say the weather the weather outside is plus C. You don't need to add all of those spaces. I just like to add those spaces because I think it looks more orderly. Semicolon. So basically what I just did was I put a string literal plus an integer. So now when I run this, it says the weather outside is 41. And I can add as many things as I want. I can add more variables. I can add another string literal. I'll put degrees outside, period. Oh, and here's an FYI. If you're doing this and is 41 and degrees are all together, it's most likely because you did not space is in degrees. Just because you put spaces there does not mean it'll space there. Because if there is no space, it'll be is 41 degrees. And that's a big word. So is space degrees to get the perfect spacing. So now I'm pretty sure you know how that works. And I'm glad because we're going over a new concept. Actually, yes, we're going over a new concept. How to get input from the user. programs aren't all about you providing information to the user, but the user providing information back to you. So I'm going to create an integer d, semicolon. So now I'm going to get input from the user. So let me create, I'm going to separate this, a system. It doesn't matter how your enters are or if things are tabbed or not. It's coding etiquette, and there's a certain way you're supposed to do it, but I do it the way it works for me. So system.out.println. What number are you thinking? Quotation, and there's my semicolon. So, how is it different? Well, to get input, I need to find my integer letter, d. D equals n, let's just say that's short for integer, dot, what in the world am I doing? Next int, parentheses, semicolon. So now it's saying for the next integer, that's going to be the value of d. So, what number are you thinking? 56. Well, it does nothing. And it's supposed to, for now, until I create another system, .print out, .println, that says, so you are thinking of the number, don't forget that space, plus d, plus quotation marks period, because I want a period at the end of my sentence. Semicolon. So now when I run it, what number are you thinking? 56. So you're thinking of the number 56, period. And that's how it works. And it's going to change every time I put in a different number. I can put in a bigger number, so I'm thinking of that. Now, here's the part where I told you were going to learn the difference between integers and floats and all of those. Integers are for storing small numbers. For example, what number am I thinking of? I can put in a simple age or a simple 6-digit number, any of that stuff. But integers are not big enough to handle decimals, no matter how small they are. 1.1, for example. Red letters. They're attacking me. So if I did want that, where my integers are, I'm going to put double E. And I want input from E. So it's basically the same. I can make E equal something, just like I made those integers equal something. But I want input from the user. So I'm going to leave double E like that, blank. And you're going to have to change some code down here, where it says E equals n, D equals n dot next n. Change it to E equals n dot next. Whoa. Dot next double. And down here, so you're thinking of the number plus D plus period. Change that D to an E. So now, what number are you thinking? 1.1. So you're thinking of the number 1.1. And also, I can put in really long numbers like that. And it'll say, so I'm thinking of that. But if I tried to put in that number with an integer, then I'd get some error. And see error. So now, it's cool to have these numbers, but why can't I have letters? Glad you asked. Because, actually, you're wrong. But, scanner, you're going to have to create a new scanner object. These scanner objects will scan for integers and things like that. So this one, just think of it like that. Scanner user input equals new scanner system dot in semicolon. Great. So now what I can do is I can do what I did here in letters. And how we do that is with something called a string. But before I jump into strings, if you wanted to know how to do that with a float, what you do is put float, float f. Do that. F here equals next. Instead of int, it's going to be float. Next float, and this is going to be f for float. And then the floats can take the big numbers too. Just something to throw out there. But we're jumping into strings now. In strings, do those how they have the numbers, just with letters. So string first name. There are no spaces in code, remember that. Well, there are, but you typically don't want to use them. Unless required. You know what, just disregard that. String first underscore name. And I'm going to give this a value. First underscore name. Do I want to give it a value? Yeah, I'll give this one a value. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do... What should I do? String city. Now just tell me a random city. City equals... mountain view. Don't forget your quotations and your semicolon. So now string city, and city equals mountain view. So now if I go down here, now out.println, you can concatenate these like normal. And if I put in I don't live in space, and I can put plus city, and then it'll print out after I put in a number, because the number sequence comes first. So just putting in a random number. So I'm thinking of the number 23, and then since I have this after that, it'll say I don't live in Mountain View. So that's how strings work. They're pretty simple too. If I want user input, I actually haven't learned about that quite yet. I was trying to figure it out. Let me just make sure I didn't do it. Yeah, I didn't do it here. But, you know, you have your strings, your floats, your doubles. I hope this tutorial really helped you. In the next tutorial, I'll hopefully go over if and else statements, because if and else statements help you a lot. For example, rock, paper, scissors. I want to have a tutorial on how to make this game. But, like I said, it's going to be a learning tutorial. It's not just going to be that. This may look confusing. Don't worry. It won't be after Christopher teaches you. But I'll just show you what the rock, paper, scissors game does. This is rock, paper, scissors type. 1 for rock, 2 for paper, 3 for scissors. 3. The computer chose paper. you've won. And you see scissors beats paper. But the sad thing about this was that this was time consuming, because I had to go in and put each possibility. I had to put in if both choose rock, one chooses rock, one chooses scissors, one chooses rock, one chooses paper. With my system out print lane, I had to use all of that. It took a while. It's more. Let me delete that, cause I wanted that to work, but I didn't get a score system. Anyways, yeah, it's actually, once you learn it, it's really more time consuming than it is difficult. But that's just today's tutorial. May have another one today. Depends. But I hope this one helps you. And everyone have a great day. Learn Java. Go for it.